Delatorre, the host and creator of the Pete Delatorre Show, and welcome to another Blockchain Talk. Before we move on, I want to thank our sponsors, Blockchain Ecosystem, powered by CrowdPoint Technologies. Today is session 8, where we're going to look at a new beginning using the blockchain for e-commerce. My guest today is my co-host, Sean OBrien-Brehm, co-founder and chairman of CrowdPoint Technologies. Let's sit back and listen to my conversation on a new beginning. Right, another blockchain talk. Here with me for session number 8 is Sean OBrien-Brehm. What's going on, my friend?
Wow, crazy week. How you doing today, Pete?
I'm doing good, just handling and trying to navigate through a lot of spinning plates right now. I think we're all in that mode, and I think when you get busy and good things are happening, you got a lot of fireworks going on, and you got to try to navigate and manage through all that. But I mean, that's the good news. The alternative is not very good at all. And with everything we've been doing with these sessions, the more we talk, the busier you and I get. Which is
crazy, right?
And you know,
hey,
what
Pete,
we're looking for.
Let's do a blockchain series. Let's do a series on the blockchain, and all of a sudden, everybody's watching them, and it goes crazy, right?
Exactly. So this has been great. The feedback we're getting from all the viewers and even some friends I have here locally in Miami has been phenomenal. They love it. They're hungry for more information. A lot of them have caught us late. And the beauty of it, I go, listen, go back to my YouTube channel, go to the playlist of blockchain and start from session 1 and go on a binge watching period, right? And catch up with all of them, right? So that you'll be ready and then we can move forward. So today what we're going to look at, and you mentioned it last time we got together, was, again, we're going to look at monetization and a new beginning really for all of us. Using the blockchain for what the world is really today, e-commerce, especially from out of COVID, that has taken on a whole new meaning. So let's talk a little bit about new opportunities, new beginnings as a result of blockchain through e-commerce.
Yeah, exactly. For the past 20 years, 30 years, you've been put into databases around the world, and those databases are centralized. In other words, they're in one single location. And what's happening right now is your data exists in someone else's database, but it's their database. It's their location. It's what they own. You don't own that, right?
Right.
So if you could be in Google's database, you could be in Facebook's database, you could be in all these other databases that are out there. And the problem that you got is you don't own that data. You are 100% reliant upon getting your data out from them. But when you go to the blockchain, it's like spreading your wings. You get set free. You're completely decentralized. And I can't remember what session it was, but we kind of talked about decentralizing, what decentralized meant and how it worked. But when you think about that, now your data is not in one location, it's everywhere. Right. Now, this is important. We talked about last week about monetizing the blockchain. And that is the first thing you have to do is you can't just say, well, customers, it's not like with the blockchain in the beginning, customers are going to magically show up. It's not like there's fairy dust in the blockchain. But so what you got to do is you got to leverage your traditional marketing techniques to get them to come to you. But here's the cool thing you want to do is if you're the one bringing people to the blockchain, and they get a decentralized ID, you are forever their sponsor into the blockchain. Now, sponsorship comes with, you're like an ambassador, it comes with great responsibilities. So what you want to do is you want to set up your e-commerce site so that you've worked with a company like CrowdPoint that takes that information and brings it into a decentralized ID. In other words, the offering you're saying is, hey, Pete, I know you just bought some bottled water from my site. You bought a whole 6-pack of bottled water. For me, my passion is Topo Chico lemon, right? Like I go nuts over it. Like, in fact, I'm sitting here, it's right here next to me. I'm not going to give an advertisement, but it's right here next to me. So
And they thank you for that, by the way.
I'm sure they will. And so like sometimes I can't find it locally because I live in the hill country and sometimes things are hard to get in the hill country. So we have to, believe it or not, I ordered Topo Chico in a bottle online and it comes. So when they purchase that Topo Chico, if you were working with CrowdPoint, the moment that person came in, they would go into the blockchain. So just through a normal financial transaction, they've entered into the blockchain. Now you, as a traditional retailer, have provided someone with tremendous opportunity. You've sponsored them in to the blockchain. You've taken their first name, their middle name, their last name, their email address, their mobile phone number, and their addresses. And you've said, okay, I'm going to introduce you into getting a decentralized ID. And we'll talk about next session what happens once you get one. But now all of a sudden, that person, when you think about it, has just made a financial transaction. And the likelihood of them being not who they said they were is pretty small because a bank has just approved that, right? So now what you can do is you can bring them in as a decentralized ID, and now they're on the blockchain. And then once they're on the blockchain, CrowdPoint takes over and says, okay, we're going to assign you a wallet. You've got your own wallet. What? You don't know what a wallet is? Oh my goodness. All your stuff that you own that you're doing on the net needs to be turned into assets. And your buying decisions should be turned into assets. So let us help you. So we'll take over. We'll do a KYC, know your customer. We'll validate who they exactly say they are. And then all of a sudden, that customer of yours mind is going to open, because once their mind is opened about what the value of a decentralized ID, they're never going to go back, because now they have freedom to declare what data people have in a smart contract, when, where, and why. And that's total freedom taken away from the centralized database,
right, into
the consumer.
Right. Question for you. Question.
Yeah.
Let's suppose we're talking to young kids, 6,
Yeah.
7 years old. Okay.
Oh yeah.
And say, okay, Sean, Pete, I'm really excited about the blockchain, everything it can do, and this is a new wave in the fourth industrial revolution, and all these things are really, really cool. So how can I be part of it? How can I connect? What are the steps necessary? Who do I have to reach out to? And then what happens from there?
Yeah, so there's a couple ways to do it. Certainly CrowdPoint is not the only ones doing it. And we wouldn't be doing, this would not be a good educational process if we said it was only CrowdPoint for obvious reasons, right?
Correct.
There's a couple things that you want to look into. Let's just make this educational. For your decentralized ID, Microsoft is obviously building a decentralized ID. I'm a little bit biased. I don't think you want to continue to go with big tech companies to do that. They're great people at Microsoft, but I just don't think they've been good stewards of our data so far. So I had to ask you, how are they going to change? Number one, certainly Facebook is building a blockchain, but again, I don't think they've been very good. Let me give you a simple example. What if Facebook had said, you know what, we're going to take your identification, and 10 years ago when they started selling ads or whenever it was, and then about a couple of years later, go, you know what, guys, we've sold your identity, probably 4,200 times this past year, but we made $18,000 off of that. But you know what we did? We saved half of it and stuck it in the bank for you. I mean, think about it. They had an opportunity to do the right thing. Right?
Yeah,
Did they do it?
I think everyone's looking at their bank accounts. They don't see anything.
Yeah, it's not been done. So the question is, you want to work with someone that's going to do that. If you're going to put your identity into the blockchain, you might want to find a company to work with that's going to help you monetize your identity, help you be valuable. You are the most valuable thing ever created in human history. There's only one Pila Torah. We talked about this over and over again. Mm-hmm. You're a child of God. There's nobody else ever going to exist like you. And that's significant value. And so right now, all your purchasing decisions, all your buying habits, those have massive monetary value. And people in public markets are trading on your identity all day long. So if you're going to create a decentralized ID, you can do lots of things. There's a great program that called Hyperledger Indy. It's an open source Hyperledger. British Columbia, the government of British Columbia is creating a decentralized ID, but that kind of defeats the purpose too. You're like, wait a minute, I got to go to a government again. The whole purpose of the blockchain is to reset this thing and let me get really my rights back. So now I'm going to rely on a government to protect me. Mm-hmm. Well, government throughout time over a period of time doesn't have a strong track record of protecting its individuals all the time, right?
So even through the blockchain, let's say a government, a country can still kind of be a de facto centralized unit.
They still can be, because when you look at it, and I'm not going to say names of companies that are out there, because I used to work for some of them. They're great people. I still have friends there. But when they're talking about big tech companies, you got to understand something. We're going a little bit off topic, but I think it's important to understand this. They've spent billions of dollars building a framework. And do you think all of a sudden they're going to go, you know what, kumbaya, let's sing a song. We're just going to give up the value of the billions of dollars we put into our technology, and we're going to go with this open source. We're going to go with this blockchain thing and not use the existing technologies we own. Are you kidding me?
Right.
No, they're going to repurpose everything they own. So the problem is you may put something on the face of their old technology that looks like a blockchain, but it's still being stored in their old technology. So you got to make sure that when you create a decentralized ID, it's truly going on a pure blockchain. It's not being.
I'm the common guy, and I by design I'm asking you some questions that are just really fundamental. So just kind of bear with me.
Yeah.
How do I know the difference? I mean, how do I know what's legit and CrowdPoint or another company like CrowdPoint? How do I know the difference? How do I know if I'm signing up with the right group?
How transparent are they in the presentation of signing up? Are they freely showing that they've got open APIs? Those are called application program interfaces. Are they showing their architecture? Are they showing it's truly decentralized? Or are they kind of hiding things? Look for transparency. Look, I tell our team all the time, if we're going to be a trusted agent in an untrusted world, you have to take the extra steps and show people how open your architecture is, how it works, what you're doing. And sometimes that's the risk of competitors learning more, but that's the price, because at the end of the day, we keep going back to this comment, and I'm hoping people are getting this. You, ladies and gentlemen, are the most valuable asset ever created. You and your great grandparents have driven global commerce forever. And along the way, we moved from bartering to silver to coins to centralized banking. And all of a sudden, you're still driving global commerce, but you're not realizing the value. Right? So what you have an opportunity to do is say, I'm going to go all the way back to 15 generations back where my great grandparents bartered, and I'm going to create an economy like that today where I'm in charge, the value of me. So that means if you're going to onboard into a new world, make sure the conductor or make sure the ambassador or make sure the sponsor is completely transparent on the technology they're using.
That goes back to the most powerful statement I've ever heard, it, is that in the past, today, and forever, in spite of technology and all these great new tools, people will typically do business with or refer business to people they know, like, and trust. Even though you have a playing field of competitors or similar type organizations with similar products and services, you will do business with that company, and even more importantly, that individual that like, and trust. And from what I am seeing and in our numerous conversations, a little plug for CrowdPoint Technologies. That is that trusted source in a untrusted world.
Well, what we're doing is, if our brokers and our resellers are micropreneurs. You've met them.
Yep.
Your audience has met them.
Yep.
From Serbia to San Antonio.
Yep.
right? They're real people conducting real commerce, trying to create, they're micropreneurs. They're looking to make a change in other people's lives while taking care of their family.
Absolutely.
That's it. And you can't get more honest than that. It's like, so go back to the shopkeepers 300 years ago. It's not like the shopkeeper could screw people over in a town of 300 because he wouldn't get business.
That's right.
Right? When you get to an environment like the blockchain is completely transparent, it's hard to do people wrong. In fact, it's impossible because, as we talked about the blockchain, it's immutable and it's transparent. So now all of a sudden, looking for vendors that are doing business on the blockchain where your transactions are transparent, everything they have transparent. I mean, literally, what you're going to start seeing in the next few years is it's going to be, what is the value you bring to me, Pete? Because the supply chain is going to be transparent. You're going to be able to see exactly where it came from the factory in Vietnam. It went to a forwarding shipping organization in Hanoi, and then Hanoi put it on a Chinese ship, and the Chinese ship went to Long Beach, California, and Long Beach, California picked it up and put it here, and then someone else got it, and someone put it on a box that went there. You're going to see complete transparency and see the costs of this. So, wow. If I'm going to be the representative of that product all the way from Vietnam, then I've got to go the extra mile. I've got to go back to the way my great grandparents had said, you know what, Mrs. Jones, know you're having a bad day. Put it on the ledger. When you get paid, pay me.
Yep. Bottom line. So Sean, what is this new beginning that we started to talk about that I think is very important for everyone to really
the new beginning
take in?
is you got a chance right now, before it gets too crazy, to go ahead and create a digital version of you, not a digital version that's sitting in databases around the world. You're putting it into a blockchain where that digital version of you is spread out into a million parts, impossible to hack. Think about it. From just an identity theft perspective, you need to start putting yourself into the blockchain. Why? Because once it's tied to a decentralized ID and you have to prove who you are, it's already, the KYC's been done. You've proven who you are. It's immutable. It's transparent. It's accepted. So, wow. Now what you're doing is I'm putting my human identity, who I am, in an identity that I own, that I manage, that I can determine when to share it with. So when someone gets my identity stolen, I'm getting passionate here, Pete. When someone has a horrible cybersecurity policy, or someone forgets to lock the back door when they leave at night on their database and your data is stolen, you can go, look, I shouldn't have to spend 16 weeks proving who I am. I'm me. Here it is on a validated system, a proven system. This is who I am, and I didn't authorize this data to be lost. So you go ahead and pay the bills, because I'm not paying the bills, because I've protected my human identity from day one. I'm now on this new beginning where I'm in charge of my identity. You're not in charge of my identity. I lease it to you, and if you break that lease, it's on you.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
And it is about regaining our power. Okay, regaining. We talked about this, and with one of the groups that we had a program with, is what was that word? It was getting acquainted again with our identity.
Yeah.
Re-understanding our identity, because we've been lost, and in many cases we continue to be lost.
We've prostituted our identity.
Yes. So e-commerce is not going away anytime soon. It's exploding. We've got a couple of minutes left in today's session. What do you see in terms of, and we talked about it a little bit last time, but what are some other things that we can come to expect through the e-commerce platform as it relates to blockchain, and how can the common guy, again, what are a couple of the opportunities for them to monetize and make money and grow a business with this new technology?
Yeah, that's a great question. I'm going to answer your question with a question. So, Pete, is saving money good?
Absolutely.
Is making money on top of the money you saved already better?
Even better. Yep.
That's the blockchain. Get yourself into a decentralized ID and start saving money. Why? Because once you're on the blockchain, your buying habits can then be leveraged and shared across what's called a blockchain ecosystem where you get credit. So it's like the Million Mile Club that you've never been on because you've definitely earned 1,000,000 miles in mine, but you bought from all these other locations and they don't care about who you bought from somebody else. But when you join a blockchain ecosystem with like-minded micropreneurs, they're so excited that one exchange and one micropreneur is going to basically be on the same blockchain and say, okay, well, you earn credits for me, but because I'm in a mutual beneficially environment called the blockchain, the credits that you earned at my store, I'm willing to let you use on another store. So I'm going to create a smart contract with someone else that's got products similar to mine so that we complement each other. And now all of a sudden behind the scenes, those vendors are having relationships saying, you know what, I've got store credit on mine. But if you let your store credit get me shared over to my store credit, we both win because they may not want to buy 20 versions of the same thing. But you've got something that complements my product after they buy my product, they're going to want your product, or after they buy your product, they might want to buy my product. So let's create a smart contract. Now, all of a sudden, man, this gets really exciting. It's like, think about it. Do you know let's give you a great example for people to understand. Let's make it super tangible in the last few moments. Anybody want to guess how much money that Starbucks is currently holding in cash from all the people that have purchased their little cards, right? Their little credit cards that they have, right? That haven't used. How much unused money do you think? Just take a guess. How much do you think Starbucks has in credit that people have just bought the pennies all added up. They bought all their little free cards. They gave gift cards to people and then people have bought those things. How much money do you think they have?
I'm going to take a shot. It's got to be in the billions.
It is. It's in the billions. It's in the billions. Now, I don't know what the laws of limitations on, but I'm willing to bet you they're taking that cash and they're using it as working capital.
Yep.
That's your money.
To further expand and offer.
So what they did is they created a little card that says you can only use this at Starbucks. And of course, because you're a caffeine addict, you get it. I'm not saying Starbucks are bad people. I'm just saying the result is bad. Mm-hmm. Like if you get in the blockchain, that credit that you spend in one business ecosystem now becomes a platform token that can be used across multiple like-minded vendors. And it's in the interest of vendors to do that, because guess what? The most important thing ever created is you. And they have the mindset that it's all about you. It's all about you. And when you create a decentralized ID, it's all about you. And you're getting into an ecosystem where it's all about you. And that means those credits you accumulate in one micropreneur will be shared across to other micropreneurs. Why? Because transactional volume is important to all of them.
Absolutely. So this is win-win for both buyers and sellers alike. It levels the playing field and it gives everybody an opportunity, because we've been living, as you know, in basically a one-sided world where the few really truly benefit and everybody else is struggling, trying to make ends meet, spending too much money on products and services because there's too many obstacles in the way or middlemen, and there's too many things going on that continue to raise the price of goods and services. And by the way, the quality of those products and services doesn't go up because of the pricing. It actually starts to go down. There's more interest in volume, and so it's a bad situation across the board. All right, very quickly.
Ever tried to talk to somebody on the internet recently on a product you bought? My wife spent 4 hours with a company up in Seattle that's got a smile for a logo.
Yeah. So
should be exactly. A frown, right? I should flip that upside down.
It's actually the other way around. Very quickly, session 9. What can we look forward to?
Yeah, in session 9, we're going to use another sense. We're now going to say, okay, now that you've got a decentralized ID, what can you do with it? How can you actually? What are the details? We're going to have some practical examples when you own a decentralized ID, what you're able to do with that decentralized ID, and then start reclaiming the wealth that's been lost since your grandparents of 15 generations ago, right?
Yes, you got it. You got it, man. Sean, thanks you, but like always, phenomenal. Can't wait. I know our viewers are excited, and we will meet again at session 9. Take care.
Session 9. See you then.
All right, bye-bye. There you go, everybody. A win-win opportunity for everyone. Buyers, sellers, where it will be totally transparent because of the blockchain. Thank you once again to Sean OBrien-Brehm for his information and insights on how to allow us and help us not just to understand the blockchain, but how to be able to use it. Thanks once again to our sponsor, Blockchain Ecosystem, powered by CrowdPoint Technologies. Make sure to follow me on Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, and if you got a moment, to subscribe to my YouTube channel, Pete Delatorre. Of course, this program is on every Wednesday, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on YouTube and my Facebook page. Thank you so much for being with us here today. Have a fantastic week. Take care.